Or maybe I'm just fat.
That has nothing to do with it. I'm fat. Fat as shit. I tried on a suit yesterday and I haven't worn in a while. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, dude. Suits are unforgiving.
Oh, the worst. All right. Welcome everybody to the second episode of The Pursuit. And today we're talking about the pursuit of retirement. I've got my usual sidekick, Kevin Thornton, head of sales for AE Wealth Management. And today we're joined by Jeff Feldman, who is head of portfolio management for TrueShares, and Chris Lakumb, the director of closed-end fund solutions. I was looking at not the camera. Now I'm looking at the camera. The director of closed-end fund solutions for RiverNorth Capital.
Thanks for joining us, Chris.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
That's great. Two first-timers welcoming each other. That's fantastic.
It's really cute. Really cute.
It is. So look, let's talk about retirement. And I thought it would make sense to round robin a little bit and talk about what retirement means to each of us. And then we can dig into what challenges that brings and what investors are facing these days. And I don't think any of us could argue that there's a massive shift in wealth in not only the US, but globally, as I think that the largest generations on the planet start to shift towards retirement. So lots of challenges abound. But let's start with Jeff, because I know you're out racing cars every once in a while and occasionally harassing woodpeckers. I just want to tell the audience. Well, he has.
What's harassing woodpeckers mean?
Yes. I'll let him get into it, but I got to tell you, it is snowing sideways again here. So listen, everybody, I left. It was 75 in California when I left. It is 1 degree in Chicago right now and snowing sideways in mid-March. Jeff, first of all, explain to Kevin what harassing woodpeckers means.
I have a cedar house and I have a major woodpecker problem. I kid you not. Yesterday, I heard the woodpecker and I went outside with a squirt gun, a super soaker. You remember the super soaker? I went to Walmart and I got a super soaker.
You remember the super soaker?
I do.
Yeah. Indeed, yes. To try to get the woodpecker. They do not like reflective stuff. So I put in tinfoil in this giant hole that it has made. It has actually made a lot of holes
in your house.
Yeah. And actually now it's going right underneath the window. It's because it was raining yesterday.
Wait, do you think it's one woodpecker?
It's one or two woodpeckers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have one hole. It's the size of mine.
Yeah. It sounds like you need something slightly more lethal.
Yes.
I love it. This is a true story, and we'll get off the tangent in a second. When I first moved to California, I had a little pigeon problem, and I went down to Home Depot to get the spikes you put on the eaves so they don't land there. And there's a guy standing next to me. He said, "You got it all wrong." And I was like, I don't. How do I have it wrong? He said, you got to get some seed, and you got to soak it in alcohol, and you got to put it out and get them drunk, and then you can just pick them off. I was like, I'm just trying to get them off of I'm not trying to destroy a flock of birds. What are you talking about? So needless to say, that was the only piece of advice I could impart on Jeff when he had the woodpecker problem. It wasn't useful.
So you can't get the woodpeckers drunk?
No, I tried spraying chemicals, around there, but obviously it washes off as soon as it rains. I did.
That's much better than getting them drunk.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, look, that's a full-on tangent. Jeff, what does retirement look like for you?
When do I think I could retire? I think I could retire when, I know it sounds kind of cliche, when I can live off interest and dividends.
Okay. So it's a cash flow thing for you.
It's 100% cash flow.
And then you'd be out, done. Shingle off the door, gone. Retired.
Yeah. Brick house.
Brick house.
Upgrade. Yeah.
Condo, probably brick condo, because I don't want the HOAs paying for replacement cedar.
Yep.
So,
All right.
so yeah, I would say cash flow.
And how many houses?
Yeah, one. I would say one.
One. Okay, so one brick house.
One brick house.
And enough cash flow to
Yeah.
do whatever you want for the rest of your day.
Jeff, you're dreaming big over there, dude.
Yeah, I mean, but you have hobbies. I know you like.
Well, it's got to pay for. Yeah. Well,
so it's got to. Okay, well, expand.
Yes, I'm into car racing, so yeah, I would need to, and I plan on doing car racing for as long as I, can drive and see.
Important.
And I would, I want, I would say that's part of my retirement. So
Okay,
that's,
all right. So cash flow to pay for your hobbies, your brick house.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if I ever can retire. I'm of the mind if you stop moving, it's dicey from there on out, right? So cash flow would be nice to do whatever I want, but I want to be in a position where I can still work, but work to the level that I want to work at the pace I want to work. And then I want to be, I was about to say tri-coastal, but it makes no sense. I want to have a place on each coast and then someplace in the mountains.
Which mountains?
That's a good question. Yeah.
In the United States?
Yeah. Well,
Outside of the United States?
I mean, originally I always thought a place in Tahoe because I love it up there. But you know me, now I'm thinking maybe a place somewhere in the backwoods of Hokkaido,
Did you say Hokkaido?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Trying to learn Japanese. But yeah, that's the way. But again, it all comes back down to cash flow, right? I mean, you've got to have the cash flow to pay for all that.
Not using principal. And I know that.
So that's something to talk about too.
I would say that's my big thing for retirement is be able to not use principal.
So you're a I need to leave it guy, and not the last check I want to write should bounce.
Right.
Guy. Okay. Yeah.
Who would you leave it to? Why not just burn it all?
My kids.
Yeah.
So.
That's reasonable.
Essentially, he's going to be burning it all once he gives it to the kids.
Yeah. Right.
My boys are going to spend every dime as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'm definitely tapping into principal.
All right. So what does retirement look like for you?
It's not too dissimilar from what you guys have laid out, or maybe elements of both.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly the timing will be, I think, dictated, assuming I've got my physical and mental capabilities still intact. The timing would mostly be dictated by, okay, I've got a sufficient amount of income, mostly being generated in income or interest, dividends, etc. I have envisioned allowing some amount of principal decumulation. I know financial planners, of which I am not one, say 4% or 5% or whatever that rule of thumb is. You should be able to withdraw annually of principal without running out of money. Of course, there's a lot of different factors that could impact that, but I'm not against principal. So it will be cash flow based. But then from there, I agree with what you said, Mike. I think just personally, and if you look at examples out there, there's so many stories of people who say, hey, I'm retired, and then they stop engaging, or they don't have things to do, and the next thing you know, they deteriorate, again, mentally, physically, quickly. And then they don't really ever get to enjoy all that principle they didn't touch.
Right.
So I think it would be more about this transition or phase into doing things I enjoy doing. Is it, being on nonprofit boards for causes that I find important? Would it be staying connected to this industry in some capacity, mentoring, etc.? I've always had these visions of maybe becoming a diesel mechanic. And I know this is random, right? But no, seriously, think about just learning a completely different skill set. Yeah. Something that I can educate myself, but I feel like the world's going to have a shortage of diesel mechanics probably in about 10 years.
Might be a shortage,
of diesel.
Might be. But if your base case is we aren't going to be able to transition away from fossil fuels maybe as quickly as people would hope,
which I agree with,
then I think we're going to need more diesel mechanics.
Yeah.
So
I just saw something, and it was Amazon EV trucks, and they had a diesel generator powering, charging the Amazon EV car.
Oh yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I saw I think it was last month, 2 months ago in Denver. I saw an LNG UPS delivery truck. It's natural gas powered.
Oh yeah.
My brother's a UPS driver. He got all excited about it. He's like, "That's like the SR 500. You never see those." But yeah, it turned out to be an LNG powered truck. So you want to do good as a diesel mechanic? You want to supplement your retirement cash flows?
Just I think stay engaged, right?
Yeah.
Learn something new.
Yeah.
Stay engaged. Maybe that could supplement some income if I take this principal decumulation thing too far. Maybe I need to supplement it back. But yeah.
But you're a travel person. You want to travel?
Yeah, I would travel.
Yeah.
For sure. And I don't know where I would go to or end up, but I got roots in India. I love South America. I also like the mountains. That's why I asked specifically
Irish too,
which
right?
mountains. Yeah. Irish on the mother side of the family.
Got a lot of places to go.
And a lot of places to go.
How does, I don't know if Kevin, I'm not sure you know this, but Chris is an accomplished Krav Maga combatant.
Oh God.
What do you call it? Fighter?
Combatant.
Yeah.
I prefer the term combatant.
I think it's great.
You could kill people.
He's a ninja. He is a ninja.
So how deep in retirement do you take that? How long can you keep fighting or sparring or whatever?
That's a great question. Not much further.
Yeah.
It's hard on the body.
Oh, I bet.
It's and you're always just, one bad move away from an injury that you're not going to bounce back from that quickly as you get older, right? Like an ACL or any of these things where a 20-year-old will be back in 6 to 9 months.
Oh yeah, when they did actually do the surgery.
Yeah.
It's like that old Louis C.K.
I don't think I'm coming back from that. So
the old Louis C.K. skit. He's like, I had an ankle problem. I went to the doctor. He's like, oh, here's some exercises to do. And he's like, aren't you going to operate? He's like, no. It's you and your ankle now until you die. All right, Kev, what about you?
Oh man, I'm not much of a big dreamer. I just want the nice little things in life, like a beach house, place that I want to be able to pay for my grandkids to come do trips, do visits, do all that kind of stuff. More family focused type of deal for me. But obviously, like, to get there, I have to have enough money, and that's me saving like crazy and investing. I don't know. I would like to leave money behind to my kids, but at the same token, it's like I'm gonna enjoy it as much as possible. And so if that means me dipping into principal and not living off of just interest and dividends, then so be it. Like, my parents are leaving me debt when they pass away, so if my kids get anything, they'll be very lucky.
Okay, I want to revise my answer because now I say, they're like, what do you want to do? I'm going to live in the mountains. I'm going to live on the beach. I spend all my money.
Before you make your revision, where's your beach house? Where's that going to be?
That's a great question. I've always been a big fan of Myrtle Beach. I have a cousin that has a beach house down there that it's just amazing. So South Carolina, Myrtle Beach.
Not bad.
Yeah, it wouldn't suck.
Do you golf? You do golf, right?
Yeah, but not well.
Well, yeah. How long you've had that? When is that knee surgery? Was in what, January? Was it December?
It was in September.
It's September?
Yeah, 6 months, dude. 6-month appointments tomorrow.
Oh man. Well, good luck.
Well, I will say very publicly, I am part of the Hole in One Club.
You are.
What? Nobody asked.
Yeah, I just wanted
was
to, I just wanted to bring it up.
Jeff with the one upper.
I've got 0 holes in one.
I have one.
Oh,
I have
okay.
one, and I got it when I was first learning how to play golf. Like honestly, 30 years ago. Never even come close since.
I think the closest I've ever gotten, I was like 4 or 5 feet away from the pin. That was about it.
That's pretty close.
What course was this on?
I forgot that, is it Tamarack? It was in
I
Naperville.
was gonna say, cue the obligatory windmill
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah. Yeah. I hit it through the clown's mouth. Right?
Oh, yeah. I have had one of those.
That's the one Happy Gilmore got upset with.
That's right. Yeah. All right. So look, fairly different versions of retirement, all predicated on one thing: cash flow. Right? Whether you want to keep working, stop working, pursue your hobbies, get a house that the family can gather at, or depending. Obviously, everybody has a different level of goals. I mean, it could be something as simple as I want to stare at the ocean and read. Who knows? But all predicated on cash flow and certainly saving for retirement. We're all in the financial business, and let's go around the circle again and say, what do you think the biggest challenge is for someone that is either retiring or hoping to retire sometime in the near future?
Yeah, you know what? I would say my fear has always been United States went into a Nikkei Japanese style, I'll call it like a correction, right? Where and it wasn't until fairly recently, right? It kind of came back that it was down for 25 years.
Like negative interest rates,
negative returns, right? For 2 decades in order for it to come back up. That this is we're at we'll call it like at the top, and it takes 20 years to kind of come back. However, I don't think that's going to happen in the United States.
I was going to ask.
Really is. I do. I'm very pro United States. I think this is like the best country, and everything. You have like Elon Musk, for example. Like he could have started his company anywhere. He's here, and all these, you could say, billionaires, they can have their companies anywhere, and they keep them in the United States because this is like the best place to grow capital and have resources and just expand your business.
So, what do you think the biggest challenge is to retirees? A negative interest rate environment, negative market?
Well, I would say that was always been like my fear.
That's your fear, right?
Yeah, that was my fear.
Yeah. I didn't want to preempt that was going to break into the 250th anniversary celebration, right? Birthday celebration. So, yeah, all right, great point, right? So you're about to retire or in retirement, and your earnings power is decreasing, and you need to squeeze the juice from what you've got, right? And all of a sudden the market is adversely affecting your ability to do that.
Right.
That's legit. I think it's legit. For me, the biggest fear, the biggest challenge, I think, for people today going into retirement is I really don't think most have saved enough. And so it's the need to put capital at risk when you can't afford to risk. Right, if that makes sense. Your cash flow is great. If you've got the nest egg and you can look for ways to generate cash flow, yes, extremely important. If you have to generate cash flow and elongate the timeline in which that cash, that nest egg or that cash flow can perpetuate, you've got 2 challenges on your hands. And, I think certainly in our business, a lot of the things we've seen, Kev, I know on your side of the fence and our side of the fence here in the ETF shop, we see a lot of that dual challenge where it's like, look, I can't completely ignore growth potential, but I also need cash flow. What do I do? And, that's a riddle, right? It's a tough one to solve, but I think these days tools are there to solve it. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think about retirement, and there's a phrase that's used regularly, right? Which is you're on a fixed income. And there's a lot of talk here about retirement being cash flow where you're living off of that fixed income at some level and setting aside your principal. So what is the worst environment for someone living on a fixed income? It's inflation.
Right.
And again, without making any calls on where inflation's heading, because who knows, I just look at the United States debt situation or deficit situation, seemingly the inability to figure out how best to solve those issues. And so can that debt deficit situation lead to some sort of significant uptick in inflation? Now, does that come with higher interest rates and therefore benefits a fixed income investor? But so again, there's many different paths that this could go. But I think the biggest concern or the biggest thing that should be top of mind for someone who's just entering retirement or thinking about retiring soon would be, what happens if inflation picks up significantly and my income is fixed. Now, the only way to really adjust is to reduce my standard of living.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't sound great, obviously, to me personally or to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So,
Inflation makes it even harder to even save.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you now have to spend more. You have to spend more money on stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And it's less money for saving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we've done a reasonably good job trying to get inflation down from the whole pandemic era spike. But still, it's running, greater than 2% if you use the Fed's measures. And if you annualize that, going 10 years, 20 years, that's a pretty significant increase in the cost of things and that's setting aside fuel costs and food costs, energy costs, generally speaking, which seem to be growing much faster than 2% a year. So I would say that's the biggest concern for someone who's thinking about retirement.
Yeah, I think that's pretty valid. You talk about the debt. It's almost like you could take the government as a microcosm for this whole discussion, right? Is the government saving for retirement? Right? Like, literally. It's like, so you're looking at the funding of Social Security and so on. It's like, where are we spending our money? And that price tag keeps ticking up. The inflation in terms of what the social programs and the different services and lots of pork barrel spending.
Can't hold the government accountable though. That would be a bad
No,
thing.
no, that's ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. Kev, what do you think? What's the biggest challenge to folks that are looking to retire now or in the near future?
Yeah, I would echo what you guys were talking about with inflation. Not enough money, and then obviously a big thing, I think two big things are time. People trying to save for retirement. I don't want to say it's too little too late, but you've got to start socking away a ton of cash in order to hit that retirement income need. And then obviously a big thing that hits on us retirees now is cost of healthcare. Going into living facilities, things like that I think is a massive thing that just continues to get more and more expensive for folks. And there's not really a great way to pay for it, unfortunately. Like, insurance policies are out the freaking roof expensive, and by the time you decide you need it, it's too late. And so I just think there needs to be better alternatives from that standpoint of insurance policies, things like that can help people with those types of spending in their retirement.
Yeah, you nailed it. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have thought of that originally, but since you brought it up, that's a huge hot button for me, right? Because my mom was in a memory care unit, and they were getting $14,000 a month.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yeah, this memory care, and you would think you're going to walk in there and they're getting mani-pedis every day and they're fanning them with. It's like the care wasn't great, and this was one of the best we could find. And every day you walk out of that and it's just like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this is what it's come to. Because if this is one of the above average facilities, what do the below average facilities look like? And what if you don't have the ability to cover that cost or relatives or kids or, insurance that might cover some of that cost at least? What do you do? Like, what do you do? It's crazy. But I had, so my my dad was 12 years older than my mom, right? And his mindset always was that she was going to live way longer than he did, which she did. And he got all sorts of insurance on himself, long-term care insurance and, other things. And then just figured like the nest egg would be able to pay for her and she could enjoy her life. He wasn't too far off. I mean, that's kind of what it did. But anyway, great point, because we all talk about what it costs to be retired in good times, right? What we want to do, what the houses we want, the hobbies we want to pursue. And much like, Murphy's Law, things happen. And in retirement, things happen. And so what
do they say? You have like 10 good years in retirement typically, where you get to travel and do things like that. And then the next 10 are you're slowing down, so you don't need to spend as much. And then the final 10, if you're lucky to make it that long, you're worried about health and healthcare and stuff like that.
The years at the end are not the best.
No, they're not. They're actually
The
quite
marginal decade.
Yeah.
It's generally not good.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you get into all the different sayings and everything, right? Where it's what was the one I've heard a lot recently, which is, it's not you only live once, it's you only die once.
Yeah.
So and then I saw it was I don't know who it was, somewhere, it was online, might have been Ben Zinga, somebody pushing out content like that, but it was George Clooney, and I didn't know this, but Clooney had said he gave, at one point he gave $1 million in cash in a briefcase.
I remember reading about it,
to each of his 14 best friends.
Damn.
And his answer was like, it was, why wouldn't I do that now? Why would I wait until I get hit by a bus to give them money? He goes, what's the fun of that? And so I think, time as a construct in retirement is a really important thing to consider, right? How long are you going to live? How many good years do you have, right? To travel and do the things you like. And then certainly, how are you going to survive the marginal decade, right? Where things are going wrong. And, because you're in retirement, you're typically getting older, and, the wheel's going to fall off the car or something, I mean, it starts to happen, and health insurance is a huge thing in retirement, right? And I think, there's a lot of factors in there that can be a little dizzying, right? So how do you deal with all that? So what, I don't know, I'll open it up to the floor here, because this is really the guts of what we're talking about today. How do you approach all that? Is it, I'm just going to make enough money that I can solve any problem? Awesome solution, not practical for 99% of the world, right? So how do you handle all that? How do you even go about it? Like, how would you go about retirement planning right now, knowing what you know?
Well, I think it's kind of interesting, because I think we came from a generation where our parents ingrained it into us to save for retirement. And I think this younger, we'll call it, this younger generation, they're more of like the YOLO generation, right? Where they just like,
I just,
now we got to change it to Yoda.
Jeff literally, he peeled back, was trying to be very respectful about it, and then he goes, YOLO.
The YOLO generation, but that might be like some, it might not be that bad of a tack to just like enjoy it now, right? Because in the end, I don't really care about that. I don't really care about the end, right? And enjoy it now. And that's kind of like I don't want to say that's like what George Clooney did, but it's just like that concept of just,
similar.
Enjoy it now. At the end is not the best years. Could not necessarily be the best years, enjoy it now. So maybe we're the fools who are thinking of just like, let's save all this money and sock it away and live way below my means, because that's what you have to do in the end, is to live below your means.
Yeah.
Right. The more you want to have, you got to live below your means more and more.
I know this is not a problem for, let's call it 95% of the people out there, but we should also speak to the broader population, which is, that's actually a big deal. people living too far below their means for an extended period of time. And they'll have financial planners that say you could actually start withdrawing more of your money.
Right.
But we have such this save mindset
Yep.
that we actually, again, this is not a widespread problem, but it is a problem for a lot of people, which I think we should also discuss, which is some people tend to oversave and underspend. And then that marginal decade comes a lot sooner than they would have expected. And now,
What did you save it all for?
yeah, what did
Yeah.
you save it all for? So there's actually a really good book on this topic called Die with Zero.
Yep.
Which it doesn't sound like a great strategy just based on the title of the book, but if you actually read through it, that's essentially the premise of it, which is, it's the George Clooney approach.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're just going to plan to die and then give all of your money to XYZ charity, you could have actually done a lot more good for that charity or that cause if you would have given them the money earlier.
Yeah.
Or same with your kids. If I'm fortunate
Or
enough
giving
to
them,
die
or
in my
giving
90s,
them your time too, right?
Yeah.
And there's lots of things that could have done.
but, people in their 20s, 30s, let's say you have adult children and the mindset is I'm saving and then when I die, I'm just going to gift it to them. But they probably would have benefited from having access to some of those funds for maybe a down payment on a home or whatever, that you could have leveraged the impact of that gift earlier.
It is better. It is better for the economy, right? It's way better for the economy if everyone had, just said, I'm going to die with zero and I'm going to live till 85, die with zero. I'm going to spend everything now and you'll have more flow, coming into the economy as opposed to this just, bucket of cash at the end.
And spending could be charitable as well.
Yes.
Right again.
Yeah.
No, there's no question. And that, Kev, I'm going to give a shout out to our buddy Landon Randall over at Oxford, right? Because I love his slogan, right?
Dare to retire.
Dare to retire. He's got a slogan, it's dare to retire. And anytime his clients, retire or go do something that was on their bucket list, and they bring a dare to retire flag and take a picture, and he circulates it to all his clients, like, do it, retire, like, you got it, we got you there, go spend it now, like, enjoy it. But
a lot of people are afraid to retire now. Like, the people are working longer, and it's also like affecting the younger generations because the workforce isn't decreasing by the amount of people coming in, and so people are they're working longer and maybe not enjoying their retirement as much. So I mean, it's a great slogan.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, when you do that, then you have people who are older who are in the senior positions, right? And then you have the younger people who should normally replace them, and then they aren't, right? Yeah. So they're kind of like making less, and it just it has a negative trickle down effect.
There's actually a name for that phenomenon now. Right? I think it's called the silver tsunami or something like that. Right? Where they're talking about all the retiree, that folks that maybe could have retired already or are near retirement, and there's going to be a dearth of experience and leadership, in the corporate space, amongst others, because all this massive shift. They're all going to retire at once, right? And so it's all symbiotic in the end.
Well, and the government increased the RMD age to 73. Like, they want you working longer, they want me. I would think it's contrary. They would want their taxes quicker, but
But they like to spend.
Oh yeah. At least they get to spend.
All right, so think about it. In the last, I don't know what it's been, half hour, 45 minutes. I don't know how long we've been taping. It's so much fun. It flies by.
It does
fly by. So we've covered at least a dozen sort of risks or concerns that we are aware of or have ourselves going into retirement or nearing retirement. We've covered a bunch of things that potentially are mistakes in retirement, not even financial, just sort of quality of life and what that does. We haven't even touched on how many different tools are out there to help people plan for retirement and prepare for retirement. but I can tell you that the tools are virtually limitless at this stage, and I think it's more confusing than anything. I always remember we're all in the business, so people walk up to us and they're like, "Oh, can you tell me what to do with X, Y, Z?" And I'm like, "Well, that's not what I do in the business. I'm not a financial advisor." And so I had a fireman come up to me one time, and he said, "Hey, the union reps were in recently, and they were explaining to us how our pensions are never going to run dry. Is that true?"
Ooh. Ooh.
And I said, that's exactly what I said. I went, and I said, it's situational, because they think in many cases people go to work and they trust their employer, they trust their union, they trust the government, and you should, right? But you should also understand what you're doing and what you're paying into. And I was like, well, do you know if your pension is funded? And he said, what? He said, no, I make my contributions every month. I said, no, not your pension. I'm talking about the master account. And so understanding these things, because we see this all the time, what we think is obvious is very different for someone that's an expert in a different industry. Like Chris as a diesel mechanic, might have a different skill set than others. And so understanding what's out there and trying to navigate that and trying to filter through the tools that are available and decide how to properly use them. What's the answer there? Because there's lots of places. And I think one of the greatest things about today's society, and one of the worst things about today's society, is access. Everybody's got access to everything.
There are so many options.
So many options.
It's overwhelming.
And so how do you wade through that? Like, where do you start? Like, again, same question. If we'll go reverse order, Kev, we'll start with you. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to start planning for my retirement today, what's your first move?
Personally, it'd be talking to a financial advisor. As you said, like, I'm in the business of that. I'm a CFP. I could probably plan for my retirement just fine, but I think having that coach to ride shotgun with me and making sure I'm making the moves that I think I should is kind of more like a sounding board at that point. And I'm also asking, like, friends and family that, have retired as well, what they did, who they talked to, who do they trust, who does a good job. And if I'm going out and finding a financial advisor, I'm interviewing at least 3 or 4 of them to figure out which ones fit my needs, which one I think can get me to where I want to be, and who can hold me accountable. So, I mean, everybody's going to have those different needs and what they're looking for from a financial advisor. Mine are going to be more of a coach or someone to ride shotgun and make sure I'm not making stupid decisions with my money. And then, personally, if it was just me playing around with it, doing my own retirement, I would obviously use financial planning tools. Kind of what you hit on earlier, like, we haven't hit on any of the tools. There's tons of them out there. Even AI tells you their opinion now on what to do in retirement and how to save for it. And so I'd be using a financial planning software for myself, making sure I'm good to go, and just kind of tracking that, which I do that on my own. But yeah.
I would say, sticking with the theme of not doing something stupid, it would be the tax side.
It's an important theme for this crew. It really is.
That's where to start. Not doing something stupid from a tax standpoint. Because again, we're all in the industry, and we all, I think, have a lot of experience in different domains. All of that being said, I am not a tax expert, right? I know enough to be dangerous in a lot of different areas about, okay, housing certain assets in different types of accounts to maximize after-tax returns. So I could think about things at that level, but I'm confident I'm missing something or particularly when you enter this next phase of retirement and you're at the point of starting to make withdrawals, or you're going to sell a certain asset, buy another asset. I've truly, over the past however many years, become a big believer in the concept of tax alpha. Investment alpha, I think it exists, but that might be fleeting a little bit, just as the industries become more efficient, and whether it's ETFs or other vehicles. But I think tax alpha, there's still a lot of that to be gained. And it starts by not cutting Uncle Sam a big check because you did something stupid because you weren't just aware of the consequences or the existence of how that part of the tax code impacted you.
Right. Well, that number could be 20% off the top that you saved for 40 years,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be a huge number. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think one of the most underutilized, professions when it comes to retirement planning is the CPA. You know, if and when you go to do it, in my opinion, and I would advise this, it's have a full stable of professionals at your disposal, right? We're all professionals in the business, but I'll tell you right now, like I am pretty comfortable with my decision making and my judgment with these types of decisions, but I'm not comfortable with the idea that I know, what the playing field looks like. And having someone that's completely knowledgeable in the playing field and all the different aspects of it, like think about and I'll say estate planning, and a lot of folks immediately go to estate. Well, I don't have an estate. It's like, well, you do have an estate. Everybody's retirement is an estate. And so I think estate planning means a lot of things, and it draws in factors from a lot of different areas, right? Whether it be investing or tax or insurance. Insurance is a hugely important part of this if you're preparing correctly. So I think that having either a team that is turnkey and already assembled, or assembling it yourself, having that team and having an expert in each of those areas to me is enormous. And I've just found over the years that in many cases, the accountants have always given me the answers that I've been looking for, right? And lots of the other the financial advisor and certainly the legal aspect of it, they help execute on it. But a lot of times the first answer comes from the accountant, and because they've seen it before, and they know that stuff like the back of their hand. And I think, really dovetailing on what you said, like having somebody that's an expert in that area is invaluable to me, because I'm not even, I couldn't be considered that in any day of the week. And, shoring up a weakness in your knowledge base is important. But yeah, gotta have a team. You gotta have enough people to ask these questions to and guide you to do the right thing. Because if you're like us, most people are out there doing day jobs. And when you come home from your day job, you're usually going to eat, and you're going to be with your family, or you're going to do something you like doing. And there's precious little time to get up the learning curve in these types of things. And there are people out there that can do it. So that's why they exist. And so I think, find a good team and make sure that it covers all the bases, and then, work with them, let them guide you to through your decision-making process.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you guys said. Personally, I was given advice in my 20s from a CPA, that said, you don't know what the government's going to do in 40 years. Like, no, especially from like a tax standpoint. And he's like, it's not cliche. Just don't put all your eggs in one basket. And that was his just advice to me from a financial planning tax aspect, is that, you might say right now, this is the best the best plan to go to for long term, but you don't know what the future holds from a tax standpoint, and to kind of like diversify around that. It could be wrong, right? But you're kind of like hedging yourself, because no one really knows what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah. Well, look, we've been at it for a bit. I'm going to tie it off with one thing right before I tell Kevin. Is that a new chair? That looks great, Kev. Is it? the one thing we can all agree on with retirement, I think, is A, it's supremely important, or at least retirement planning, and B, it's never too late. It's never too late to get started on it. There's so many good catch-up vehicles and clauses now. It's never too late. So if you haven't gotten on it, whatever age you are, get on it and talk to somebody. And whatever you are today, it can be improved upon with regard to what your retirement planning is, I think. So with that, I think episode 3 is not going to be snowing sideways. I wish I could turn the camera around. Snowing sideways in downtown Chicago right now. But episode 3 is going to be from Augusta, Georgia next month. Right? I think Kev, you're going to be there.
Oh yeah.
Jeff and Chris don't like golf, so I'm not sure they're going to be there for that one. But,
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So we'll be down in sunny Augusta. I think we'll have some special guests that week as well. Yep. And that should be fun. We won't be at the course doing the podcast. We'll be at the course during the day, but we're doing the podcast off site. We don't have that kind of pull with the Augusta National.
Not doing it at Amen Corner.
Not doing it at Amen Corner. But looking forward to that. So listen, Chris, thanks for being here. Jeff, thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Kev,
thanks,
as always, appreciate you piping in. Sorry you couldn't make it up here, but weather had other plans for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see everybody.
All right. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.